The city is majestic and charming, unlike anything I've ever seen.
One of Italy's most famous attractions in Venice, with its historic buildings and gorgeous canals. 117 small islands are connected by bridges and separated by canals in this floating city. As Venice has become more popular and accessible, its uniqueness has created several challenges for the city, especially as it becomes a mecca for tourists. So, are you planning on going to this picturesque, perfect Italian city? Here are the things to know before you go to Venice. 12. Choosing where to stay would probably be the first thing you should do before visiting this gorgeous city. From grand palatial properties to gorgeous boutique hotels, Venice is full of breathtaking hotels. A stunning hotel situated right on the canal would be Hotel Metropole. The location is excellent, just minutes away from the main square and close to all the important attractions. You could wake up to a view of gondolas as you opened their bedroom windows. Certainly one of the grandest interiors in all of Venice, the interiors were luxurious and exuberant. With an elegant feel and antique furniture, you were made to feel like a prince or a princess when you walk into the room. 11. Venice is crowded. Venice is crowded and most people there are tourists, which is one of the things to know before visiting. Prepare yourself for crowds around famous sites such as St. Mark's Square and Rialto Bridge, especially on the narrow streets. Tourism in Venice has increased significantly over the past few years, so there isn't really a shoulder season. In spite of this, Venice is the most crowded during late spring and summer, weekends, and carnival season. So if you have a problem with crowds, avoid these times. There are often fewer visitors in fall, but Venice is at risk of flooding during this time. As with any large city, it is possible to take advantage of Venice with fewer people by waking up early, before 7 a.m., and staying out late, after midnight. 10. Travel light. Your hotel is not always right across the street from the water taxis or ferries. Getting to your hotel will most likely require you to walk for some time. It is possible that you need to cross a few step bridges as well. It is therefore advisable to travel light and expect some walking during the commute. The city center is a long walk from the bus or train station, so you should pack light if you arrive by bus or train. 9. Venice is expensive. Venetians should be prepared to fork over a pretty penny to play while visiting the island. Due to increased tourism, prices have increased. In tourist areas, especially around St. Mark's Square, restaurants and bars tend to charge more. These areas also charge higher prices for food and drinks in addition to higher sitting fees. Traveling off the beaten path will help you avoid higher prices and save money. The cost of food, drinks, and table fees can be reduced by staying away from tourist attractions. 8. You pay to dine in restaurants. To sit at a table in a restaurant in Venice, and throughout Italy in general, there is usually a cover fee or a service fee. It usually costs only a few euros per person and helps to cover restaurant expenses, such as water and electricity. Waitstaff is generally paid through a service charge, which amounts to about 10% of the bill. Due to the service charge, the waitstaff are paid a livable wage in Venice, so tipping is not necessary. If you are considering whether to eat at a restaurant, keep these fees in mind. The best way to avoid these fees is to stand at the bar if you only want a simple cup of coffee. 7. There are few public restrooms, and they are expensive. You should also expect to pay for public restrooms in addition to fees associated with restaurant seating. Toilets in public places are clean, but they aren't always easily accessible. Additionally, they cost €1.50. We recommend finding a bar when you need a restroom. The bar's restrooms will be available to you as a paying customer after you have ordered a coffee or pastry. Just a reminder, don't just enter, use the bathroom and leave. Italy frowns on such behavior. 6. Venice is like a maze. There is nothing more maze-like than Venice. Each turn seems to lead to a hidden cobblestone street. The combination of these factors, along with the fact that every time you cross a canal, you will find yourself getting lost. There are many streets without names, and some appear to suddenly dead-end into buildings or canals. Venice can be challenging to navigate because of this. Taking the time to explore the city is a great idea if you're not in a hurry. Never lose sight of the fact that you are on an island, even if you get lost a few times. Your destination is never too far away. Taking the time to lose oneself in the narrow alleys and canals of Venice is the best way to discover and appreciate its stunning beauty. This also provides great photo opportunities and gives you an opportunity to feel the Venetian atmosphere, as well as discover more of Venice. 5. Use a traditional map to get around. The winding streets and hidden alleys of Venice make navigation quite challenging. Because of the tall buildings and narrow alleyways, it can be difficult to get good GPS signals for apps like Google Maps. The best way to find your way was to use a map in the old days. While getting lost in a city like Venice is fun, there is something different about the experience. Hidden corners are more likely to be found when there aren't so many tourists, so you can find them more easily. 4. Make sure you understand the weather when you go. The winter isn't extremely cold in Venice. The temperature during the day in February was around 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 to 10 degrees Celsius, and at night it was maybe 30 Fahrenheit, -1 Celsius. Even though it doesn't seem like a bad temperature, you'll still feel quite chilly if you don't layer properly, given that it's a damp kind of cold. A couple of heavy sweaters and a bunch of long-sleeved Uniqlo Heat Tech tops are safe to pack, so you can wash them overnight, and they'll keep you warm and dry faster. A trench coat would be a good layering piece. This means it can get really humid in the summer, while it can be pretty mild in spring and fall. 3. Choose a local guide if you book a guided tour. Venice's most interesting parts are still a mystery to the World Wide Web, unlike New York and London. Therefore, it is best to get a taste of the city from someone who knows it like the back of their hand. Get a local's perspective on the city by exploring with them. Trainers who live in Italian cities are very different from people without training and who have visited Italian cities a few times. As a result, we recommend not relying on outsiders for tours. You should be able to ask your guide any question you may have, and they should be able to give you real insights into Venice. It is more likely that people unaware of Venice will either use the common knowledge featured in most online articles or even provide inaccurate facts about Venice. Make sure your tour leader is a certified local tour guide if you want a good experience touring the city. 2. Beware of flooding in Venice. Locals call this flooding acqua alta, or high water. It can be a problem in Venice. There are some days of the year when it gets really bad, but fortunately it only lasts a few hours. The flooding does not affect the entire city, so you can either walk on the heightened sidewalks or avoid the flooded area, which is mostly around San Marco. Check the forecast a few days before your arrival if you want to be prepared. A flood warning of 80 centimeters above sea level means there will be very little flooding, and you won't need to change your routes until it reaches 100 centimeters above sea level. 1. Beware of people wearing costumes. People in horrible plastic costumes and makeup pose in busy areas wearing an illegal trend that started back in 2014. There is more to it than just the fact that these people are operating illegally. The person will demand payment up to 10 euros for taking a picture with you, and will even take your phone or camera for payment and not return it until they have been paid. The same thing can happen to you when you go to St. Mark's Basilica, where an illegal seller will offer to take your picture and then ask for money. Now that you know these travel tips before you go to the majestic city of Italy, Venice, it is now time to get this under your bucket list and let us know when you visit there. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.